Fever dog! Woo! Woo! Fever! Good dub. Ugly, but we found a way to win. Woo.
What a night in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever just made a thunderous statement in a revenge-fueled win over the Atlanta Dream. And yes, they did in front of Brittney Griner, whose team was watching closely from the sidelines. If anyone still had doubts about whether Caitlin Clark belongs in the big leagues, this game just shut them up completely.
Like our defensive energy, physicality, disruptiveness was better.
This wasn't just a win, it was a message. After weeks of criticism, constant media drama, and questions about whether Clark could survive the physicality of the WNBA, the Indiana Fever finally found their groove, and they made Atlanta the example. Let's break down how Caitlin Clark took over, how the Fever executed a total team performance, and why this would mean so much more than just another W in the standings.
One thing this Indiana Fever team has shown us they will do this year, it's not.
Let's rewind for a second. Just a few weeks ago, the Indiana Fever were being dragged through the mud. After a tough start to the season and brutal matchups against elite teams, critics were quick to say the team was overrated and that Caitlin Clark wasn't ready for pros. Add to that the drama with Angel Reese, the trash talk from multiple veteran players, and the spotlight growing hotter every day. The pressure on this rookie and her squad was unreal. And guess what? The Fever lost their first game against the Atlanta Dream. Clark was double-teamed constantly. The Dream were physical, and Indiana looked completely out of sync.
Yes, this stinks. We want to win this game. But, I think this is great for our team. A little adversity. How are we going to respond? How are we going to come in here tomorrow morning?
So coming into this rematch, emotions were running high. This wasn't just about redemption. It was about pride. It was about proving that this team, and especially Caitlin Clark, can bounce back, adapt, and fight back with fire. Right from the opening tip-off, you could tell the Fever came to play. Gone was the hesitation we saw earlier in the season. Indiana looked sharp, focused, and angry in the best way possible. Caitlin Clark wasted no time setting the tone. First possession, boom. A deep three from well beyond the arc net. No hesitation. She wasn't just scoring. She was leading, communicating on defense, setting up her teammates, driving into the paint without fear.
Fight, the toughness that we showed, our ability to stay together. Our bench was really engaged in every timeout and in every huddle.
Nalissa Smith, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell all fed off her energy. The spacing was better. The ball movement was crisp. And unlike their previous loss to Atlanta, this time the Fever weren't backing down from contact. They were initiating it. Let's talk about Caitlin Clark's performance. This is the version of Caitlin Clark we saw at Iowa. The floor general, the long-range assassin, the unselfish teammate, the killer competitor. Her step-back threes were falling. She was throwing full-court dimes in transition. And every time Atlanta tried to double her, she punished them with a perfect pass to a cutting teammate or kicked it out for an open three.
Tuesday, we couldn't seal the deal. We lost it at the free throw line. Tonight, we sealed the deal.
At one point in the second quarter, Clark hit back-to-back logo threes and stared down the Atlanta bench. The crowd went ballistic. You could feel the momentum shift, and it never left Indiana's side after that. But here's what made this win so special. It wasn't just Clark. Aaliyah Boston dominated the paint. Her physicality disrupted Atlanta's front court, and she finished with a double-double, **, 18 points, and 12 rebounds, **, plus 3 blocks. Nalissa Smith brought the energy on both ends, including a huge and one in the third quarter that ignited the Fever bench. Kelsey Mitchell looked like a seasoned sniper, knocking down clutch perimeter shots and taking pressure off Clark when the defense got too aggressive. Even the Fever's role players, Katie Lou Samuelson, Temi Fagbendel, and Lexi Hull, played meaningful minutes. The bench rotation worked. The defense communicated. The hustle plays were there. This was a full-team victory. On the flip side, the Atlanta Dream just had no answers. Ryan Howard was hounded all night. Cheyenne Parker got frustrated by the physical interior defense. And Tina Charles, the veteran present Atlanta hoped would dominate, looked slow, tried to rotate and cover pick and rolls. They tried to trap Caitlin Clark in the backcourt. Didn't work.
Win for the Indiana Fever against the Atlanta Dream. Good teams win ugly. And that was what was most impressive to me about the Fever's performance against the Dream.
They tried to switch every screen. Clark exposed every mismatch. They tried to play zone. Indiana hit them with a barrage of threes. By the time the fourth quarter rolled around, it was clear the Dream weren't just losing, they were being outclassed. Now, let's address the headline that had everyone buzzing. Brittney Griner, recently returned to the WNBA and playing with the Phoenix Mercury, wasn't in the game, but she was present, watching from the sidelines in Atlanta alongside other Mercury players ahead of their own matchup. Cameras caught her reactions multiple times, especially during Caitlin Clark's takeover moments, and social media lit up with fans saying, asterisk, even BG had to respect that. Asterisk, it was symbolic. Griner represents the old guard of dominant WNBA centers. And while she wasn't on the floor, seeing Clark dismantle a team while Griner watched felt like a passing of the torch, or at least a loud wake-up call that the next generation is here, and it's coming fast. And if there were any questions about Clark's ability to rise to the challenge in front of legends, consider them answered. This one wasn't just revenge for a previous loss. It was a declaration. The Indiana Fever have turned the corner. The chemistry is building. Roles are becoming clearer. And most importantly, Caitlin Clark is looking more comfortable and confident by the game. After a brutal early schedule, the Fever are finally getting some rhythm, and that should scare the rest of the league. No, they're not perfect. Yes, they're still young, but if they can play like this consistently, they're a playoff team, and a dangerous one at that. After the game, Clark stayed humble. In her post-game interview, she said, asterisk, we're just learning to play for each other. We've been through some tough losses, but we're growing, and tonight showed that. Asterisk. Aaliyah Boston added, asterisk, we wanted this one. We remember what happened last time against Atlanta. We weren't going to let that happen again. Asterisk. And Fever head coach Christy Sides? She praised Clark's leadership and the team's defensive intensity, saying, asterisk, this was our most complete game yet, and it starts with how Caitlin controls the tempo.
Shout out to Natasha Howard, I will say. You didn't have a good game last game. You bounced back today.
Asterisk. Meanwhile, Atlanta's coach acknowledged that they were outplayed in every aspect. There was no sugarcoating it. What's fascinating is how fast the media narrative flipped. Just a week ago, major outlets were questioning if Clark could adjust. Now they're calling her a future MVP. That's the power of narrative. And that's what happens when a player of Clark's caliber finally finds her groove. But let's not forget, the standards she's held to are insanely high. Every missed shot, every turnover, every loss, it gets magnified. Meanwhile, other rookies get time to adjust. Clark, she has to be a superstar every night, or she's called a bust. That's the double standard she's been dealing with since day one. But the best part? She's starting to silence the noise not with words, but with results. Looking ahead, this game could be the turning point for Indiana's season. The Fever's upcoming schedule includes several winnable games. And now that the offense is clicking and Clark's confidence is peaking, the momentum is very real. If they keep this up, we're not just talking about a team clawing for the 8th playoff spot. We could be watching the birth of something special. Clark is leading with poise. Boston is anchoring the defense. Mitchell is delivering veteran scoring. And the locker room energy, it feels tight-knit. It feels like a squad on a mission.
That's toughness on display. Fighting through it. It ain't always gonna go your way.
This wasn't just a revenge win. This was the Indiana Fever telling the league, asterisk, we're here. Asterisk, this was Caitlin Clark proving, yet again, that she's not just a college sensation. She's a game changer at the professional level. And this was a warning to every team that thought they could outmuscle or outpace Indiana. You might get them once, but don't expect a second shot. Atlanta learned that the hard way. Brittney Griner saw it with her own eyes. And now the rest of the league better pay attention. Because Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, they just flipped the switch. What did you think of Caitlin Clark's performance? Are the Fever legit playoff contenders now? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'll be reading and responding to the best ones. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to smash that like button. Subscribe for more WNBA coverage.